And now it's time to make our Pegbox. This is the final product. I will show you the process in this video, how I made this Pegbox. This is a mixture of walnut and one layer of maple inside. And I will adjust it to be fit on this neck beautifully. Also, I will make another video for adjusting and finding the pegs to work with the holes that we made here in the next video. But now let's see how I made this peg box. This is the design that I draw with the pencil and the paper of my wood peg box. There are some details that I want to talk about this design, because the peg box can be very different and vary in the woods. So or luthiers, they have their own desire to design the peg box. Some are more wavy and some are more flat, but I just draw this line, and I have some reason behind this design. Let's first talk about some technical details. That I choose to have 3.3 centimeter here on the peg box shoe, which will be actually, it will sit here. As you see now, it's a little bit less than that, but later we will add one layer on the back of the peg box to connect the peg box piece together. So we will add more 2 or 2.5 millimeter here. So we will have 3.5 centimeter at the end. So I cut this. Actually, I not added to my template right now. The other thing is that the space between the pegs is so important to have a very comfortable tuning for the player, which I choose to have 1.5 centimeter here, which is not quite perfect. One of my friends, a luthier, said that it's very good to have 1.7 centimeter or 1.8 centimeter between each pegs. But the problem is that if I design it with 1.7 or 1.8, I will have a very long peg box, which I don't want to have. This is almost like 1 point something longer and deeper than my wood sound box, the ball. So I don't want that very long peg box here on my wood peg box on the neck. So I choose to have 1.5 for each, so it will be more than a little bit. It's like 3.1 centimeter for each peg here on the peg box. Also, some luthiers make it more thinner, and some use a wider side, or some use a wider at this part and then make it thinner on the tail, which is your prefer. This is your decision, so you can design your own peg box. Also, there's another thing that I like to talk about, that because of some very wavy designs on this wood peg box, when you put the strings on and you see this very end strings, when you put the strings on, the strings goes from this peg box to the instrument. So I don't want it to see the strings from the outside. So I designed my actually peg box in order not to see and not go out the strings out of my peg box when I put the strings on. So it's almost at the edge when I put the strings on the instrument. So on the very last peg, I don't see the strings from the outside. Also for other So this is the design. You can design your own. It's not you just want to keep that this 40 degree that I decided for cutting the pegbox joint on the neck, and just left some for the back layer. For making the pegbox, on the wood side, I wanted to glue these two layers of, one is walnut, which is my wood ball and the neck, the same wood, and this is the curly maple that I want to use inside the peg box. So in the final product, we will have something like this. And because this whiter color wood inside the peg box, we see the peg box from the outside a little bit thinner. So if you choose the darker wood for the inside of the peg box, you will see the peg box. It looks more thick, more fat. So I don't want to do that. So I just choose the very beautiful curly maple here for the inside of the peg box. And the reason that I choose to have two layers of wood here is to have a more beautiful and look more good on the wood. It's just something that I decided. It's not, there's not technical things, because if we have some softer wood from on the wood body, it will be very essential to have a hardwood on the peg box, because the pegs will be loosened after some times. But here, the reason is not because of the softness of the wood. It's just a decoration to have more beautiful wood on here. So now I just made one 3 millimeter of walnut wood and one 4 millimeter of this maple. So together it will be 7 millimeter for the peg box, which I found that's very good thickness for the walls on the peg box part. And so now I will glue these two layers together, and I will put my template on, and this template also is based on this one. So I printed and I put it on the wood, and I made it with a piece of wood to work with this template. Okay, now I'm going to make the hole inside the Pegbox body. And before separating these two parts are now very matched and sanded on the sides. So I want to have a very uniform, in the same direction holes. But before that, if you use some device like this that is not accurate, please check it before, because you need very, very complete vertical drill for this part, because even with a very little distortion of the drill, you will have not a straight pegs on the finish. So I calibrate my drill, almost 90% done. Hope to have a very good, nice drills here. So now I start with number 2, and then number 4, and then number 7. Okay, after making the hole, the peg box, it's time to form the edges. I want to make this inside edges to be curved, and we also later we will make two blocks for each ends to connect these two pieces together as a peg box. So because we don't have enough room for sanding or carving the edge, I want to make these edges curved before gluing together these two pieces. So now we need two blocks of wood that I can maybe show you, that I want to remove these parts to follow the template, follow the peg box shape. Also, this is for a neck piece. And I fix these two pieces with two screws, number 6. And then I shape the blocks like this to almost follow the template, the peg box shape. So this is for neck piece, because we will add a totem at this part, at the tail of the peg box later. We will join these two and fix these two parts together, so we don't need very thick layer here. So I just go for like 2mm block here and 5mm block like this, and I will shape this two. And then we will have something like this. You see the picture, and we need some extra, so it will be something like this. And then add the back layer to fill this gap. The shape, the width, the depth, and the width of this part, and all of these shapes are completely depends on your desire. And how you feel it works, and it's beautiful. I think this is good for this wood. I am satisfied with this. So after finishing these two parts, and then we check it with the neck, it's be completely in the place, and the width and everything is in the place, we can glue these two parts. Then I glued these pieces inside this. I will sand this part later. Also this part. After gluing these two pieces, the end blocks, we have our Pegbox ready to close the backside with a layer of wood. But before that, I want to tell you about some important point here, that because of the angles that we give to this Pegbox, these two layers are not completely flat anymore and have some kind of angle that we have to shape the backside completely to be flat for gluing the back surface. Also, we can do this with a pencil check to see if any part lifted without carving. Or I always love this pencil check technique. And we have a very flat surface on the back. It's time to cut the wood, a piece of wood to cover the backside of the Pegbox. I want to cut this walnut wood with the same from the same wood that I use for the body. I will cut it in 2 millimeter and 2.5 to sand it, and the finish surface will be 2 millimeter. Now I'm fixing my peg box into the vise. I want to bend this 2 millimeter piece of walnut to cover the back side of the peg box. I will spray some water on it. Make it wet for some seconds. It needs just some seconds to be wet. That's enough. And then we start bending it with the heat gun. Right here. So as you can see, here, it's almost matched. Just with a little, very tiny pressure of clamps, it will be sit on the peg box. Okay, so After opening this rubbers around the peg box, that we have something like this. So I will cut the extras and finding these edges. All right, so after cutting the extras, this is the peg box. Now it's time to making the headpiece. I draw same thing on this paper to put this on the wood and cut it to make the headpiece. I call it totem for the headpiece of the peg box. Okay, now I added this headpiece to the peg box. I need some sandings and shapings, but it also helps us to form and come this piece of wood together and make the peg box stronger. Also, I numbered the holes for each peak, which each peg to form it with this rimmer drill bit. Actually, this is what this bit do for us is to make one hole from one side to another side, make one bigger than another, to have some kind of angled shape holes. Also, it will make the inner part of the holes very smooth and glassy for the pegs, to help pegs to move and tune very fine and without any resistance. So we need this kind of trimmer. This is 6 to 8 millimeter size. So it starts from the 6 millimeter to 8 millimeter at the bottom, at the very end of this bit. But I use it like for these parts almost, or these parts, it gives me something from 7 to 8 millimeter. So now I will use this trimmer by hand to make these holes, and then another one from here, and then other hooks.